Welcome back, Phasmophobia fam. A brand new update today, and there's some significant non-VR changes. It's also a huge update for the VR players out there. I'm not a VR player, so I'm just going to stick to the regular changes. And if you've been following my beginner's guides here on YouTube, then this is going to be significant for you because there's been some changes to some of the old videos, and I will be updating them pretty soon in the future, as soon as I mess around. I did get a chance to mess around with the game a little bit, and I captured some screenshots for you to show some of the new changes. Before we get started, make sure you go follow me on Twitch. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday is Community Day. It's going to be a blast. We're playing with subscribers. Hope to see you there. Now let's get the video started. So here we go, VR overhaul, major update, but there's also some significant other changes to just regular gameplay. Welcome back, we've got an update for you. Finally, the VR update is amongst us. Rejoice, we are rejoicing. There's loads to unpack here for our VR players, as well as some little nuggets of content for everyone else. But fear not, Ghost Hunters, the custom difficulty update will be soon approaching, and it's a big one, and that one's going to be fun. There's also a small update coming even sooner than that. Now on to the patch notes. So I'm going to take you down here. You can just find this on Steam. You can read the VR stuff yourself if you're a VR player. Now, hiding spots. You may have seen my where to hide guides on certain maps, and some of that's going to change because, as we'll read here, basically some of the spots the players were using to hide in weren't actually intended to be hiding spots. It's just places that you could hide, and they ended up being kind of OP and pretty safe. Now, on Nightmare mode, this is going to be where it's most effective because the way it was intended was sometimes you weren't supposed to have anywhere to hide on Nightmare mode at all. So if it wasn't for hiding behind the doors, basically you wouldn't have anywhere to go, and that's ridiculously insane and unfair. So let's read some of these changes here. We've been keeping a watchful eye through our employee hidden cameras and have found that a lot of our ghost hunters love hiding behind doors. Hell, even we've done it. However, this has caused some major issues. Some spots are so good you can't be killed at all. Yep, some of the doors and such are really, really safe. It negates the hiding spot blockers in higher difficulties. Yes, when you're on Professional or Nightmare, they will block typical hiding spots people would use on the lower difficulties. They'll put boxes in closets and stuff, just so that you can't, you're thrown off guard a little bit. But when you can always hide behind the same door on Nightmare mode, it kind of negates that. So that's why they're making this change. It neglects the initial scout of the location to find places to hide, as you can just go to the same door every time. Exactly. So if you just have your favorite door to hide behind on Tanglewood or Willow, I guess it takes the intended fun out of trying to explore every match to figure out where the places are to hide on Nightmare or Professional. While we don't want to make hiding impossible, it's always a key part of the gameplay. We've made some changes to help encourage hiding in designated spots instead of behind doors, improved some spots that weren't working consistently, and added new ones. Very nice. So if a spot is blocked, sometimes instead of adding objects, some spots will have items removed instead. So I actually captured a screenshot of this. The first example I found in my quick little playthrough was in the Willow basement. The trash can is missing. So instead of just putting boxes behind the trash can so you can't get behind the trash can, it's just all missing. So you're just out there naked and afraid. The number of blocked hiding spots in all locations has been adjusted, and you will now always have a minimum number of hiding spots per difficulty. Amateur, everything's open. Intermediate, you'll have at least 3. Professional, at least 2. And Nightmare, at least 1. And that's significant because on Nightmare, you're always going to have a closet to hide in or a designated hiding spot, something that's not a door or like what they would have considered an exploit. And you'll have to explore and find that every match. As part of going to be part of the search process of finding the bone and the cursed object and all that. So very interesting. This does add a new spice to the gameplay. It makes it a little bit less stale because you don't know where you're going to be hiding. And guess what? On Nightmare, if everyone's hiding in the same closet and someone gets there late with their EMF on, beep, and the ghost he's just going to roll in there and just clap everyone in the closet. It's going to be hilarious. Scary, terrifying, but also hilarious. Okay, so door flaps have been added to the small tents within a Maple Lodge campsite. They will now work as normal hiding spots similarly to closets in other locations. So, on the campsite, those small tents used to be OP for hiding, completely safe. The ghost would run up to the tent and just wouldn't even touch you, and you'd just be standing right in front of the tent. And then they made it so that the tents weren't usable as a hiding spot at all. But now, I guess they're going to have a little flap on them to close so that you can really just use it like a normal tent and hide there. So it's kind of a middle ground between 2 OP versus 2 unsafe. Next one. Several doors, objects, and walls have been added or moved to remove several unintended safe spots. So what this means is they've turned the doors onto the opposite side of the doorway. In Tanglewood, they've done this. In Willow, they've done this that I see. And also in Willow, they actually changed the garage door and what it looks like. So if you wanted to hide behind that glass garage door, you can no longer do that. So that is going to be a big change for Willow players that were very comfortable hiding behind there, and that was their kind of go-to safe spot, as well as the Tanglewood bathroom. That door's on the opposite side now, so you aren't going to be able to hide behind that. I believe they switched the laundry room door around as well. So another example of how Nightmare Mode is going to change for players that play consistently on Nightmare and have their safe spots to go to on each map. Willow Street House has received significant changes to make hiding spots much more consistent. Yeah, there we go. That's what we were just discussing with the garage. That's probably the best example of that right there. All right, new. The screens in the truck have been updated. Very nice. The sound sensor has received new visuals and functionality. Sound sensors now cover a spherical area of sound instead of a thin cube. Its size has been increased. Okay, so sound sensors might be a little more useful now. Sound sensors are now placed in the same way as candles or cameras on tables, floors, or other objects. So you can't stick them to a wall like a dots projector. You just have to set it on the floor, and it's got a radius, kind of like a crucifix. But instead of blocking 100, it's picking up sound. Sounds are now displayed more accurately when shown on the monitor in the van. Very nice. You can now choose different options for how your voice is transmitted locally. Voice activation, push to talk, on-off toggle. Global walkie-talkie transmission will always be push to talk. Okay, that's good. More options is always better. Obake. Changes to the Obake. This is fun. Can now leave unique evidence on light switches, keyboards, and prison cell doors. How about that? Anytime we have unique evidence for ghosts or more unique abilities, it makes Nightmare Mode even more fun. Because there's less vagueness there, and there's more when you pay attention to detail and you really can pick up that detail and get the ghost right, it's a really good feeling on Nightmare Mode. So let's see what they are. A double fingerprint on light switches. That's really cool. So if you see 2 fingerprints on the same light switch, you know you've got an Obake. And 5 fingerprints on prison doors and keyboards. So it looks like the Obake is just going to spam fingerprints on the prison doors and keyboards. And I wonder if that means one prison door touch can give you 5 fingerprint photos. I don't know. We'll have to test that in the future and see. Like I was saying, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more of these beginner's guides that I've made and more of these testing updates moving forward, especially with the big updates coming down the road. All right, you can now cross off ghost types in the journal. That is a quality of life improvement that is much needed because, you know, if the breaker gets turned off, you can cross off Jinn in the book. All right, and I'm wondering, we'll have to test and see if this actually works in the way that crossing off evidence would work, and that if you cross off a Jinn, will it cross off specific evidence types in the book as options? We'll see how that works, because that could be really cool. But yeah, so you can rule out ghosts in numerous ways. When you do that, you can actually cross off in the book. Very nice. Now, dead players can now sprint infinitely. Infinite cardio when you're dead. Amazing. That was kind of annoying. If you're trying to mess around with your friends and then you get out of breath as a ghost, it's like, oh my god. All right, new fingerprints have been added for light switches, keyboards, and prison cell doors. Nice. The amount of possible first and last names for the ghosts have been greatly increased. Yes, I already noticed a brand new name. My first testing, and that's a welcome change. More names is better. I would like to see more Thomas though, to be honest. Ghosts can now knock on patio doors in Ridgeview and Tanglewood. Now, if you don't know what the patio doors are, they are the sliding glass doors. The Tanglewood one is by the dining room. You can see the pool from it, and the Ridgeview one is in the living room. So those big ones can now be knocked on and interacted with and have fingerprints on them. Very cool. New sounds have been added. That is always a welcome update. I love the sounds in Phasmophobia. It's going to be fun. Added a light switch and ceiling light to the Edgefield basement. Thank goodness. That was such a creepy basement. Just the little hallway had a light, but the actual basement part with all the shelves was always pitch black, so it's like, who lives here? It's like a vampire. All right, next one. Added several colliders to trees in Maple Lodge campsite. Be interesting to test that one out. Ghosts can now interact with keyboards to turn on desktop computers in the house maps. That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. Okay, the soft shadow setting will now affect all lights instead of only equipment lights. Very cool. That's a visual upgrade there if you have that switched on. The previous game's photos in the lobbies are now easier to see. Nice. Added sound to lockers. Okay, we'll have to test that. Added a light switch to the cleaning closet in Maple campsite. Okay, very nice. That's where the Ouija board is kept, I believe. That's in the back of the bathrooms where you would find the Ouija board. That has its own light switch now. That's pretty cool. Added eyelashes to the player models. Whoa, I've been waiting for that one for months. Added fingerprints to the toilet stall doors in prison, asylum, and school. That's, you know what? That's a big one. That's a big one because a lot of new players waste pictures in those situations. When a stall door gets manipulated, a lot of players, if you have a fingerprint ghost, will flash, you know, a photo real quick at one of those doors and just it's an empty photo then, and there goes your perfect game if that's what you're going for. So yes, that is a welcome addition. That is big. Updated engine for better performance, increased stability, and VR compatibility. I would like to see how edge field performs, because that one, even though I'm running a 3080, is always stuttery for me. All right, now changes. Volumetric lighting has been temporarily removed and will return with the foggy weather in the later update. Volumetric lighting has been a roller coaster. It's been here, taken. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Fingerprints will now be placed on the light switch instead of next to it. So I guess on the actual switch itself, instead of light switch here, fingerprint over here, it'll be on the switch. It'll be interesting to see what the Obake double fingerprints look like on that light switch. Several light switches have been moved to more intuitive positions. That could be a little suspicious at first, but I'm sure we'll get used to it, and we'll see what they mean by that. Several assets have been moved, such as garden fences, to better align them with the environment. Cool. Several floors have had their materials changed. I think I noticed the new floor in Ridgeview when I was in there getting some screenshots for y'all, and they looked pretty nice. The parabolic microphone will now update faster, every 1 second instead of previously 2 seconds. The paramic is actually underrated and really fun, in my opinion. The audio effects have been adjusted to improve distinction of sounds between different floors. Nice. Lighting has been adjusted in Ridge, Edge, and Tanglewood to improve performance. Always a welcome addition to optimize. Thunder sound effects have been improved to be more dynamic during heavy rain. I love me some thunder. Improved effects for sync taps. Interesting. All this is going to be really fun to see. This is actually more than just a few little nuggets like they said in the beginning. There's a lot of good stuff here, I think. It's subtle, but there's a lot of it. Replaced sync tap audio, nice. Scrolling with the scroll wheel in the journal has been improved, nice. Some spotlights have been adjusted so that they also illuminate the ceiling. Willow, Tanglewood. Interesting. So I guess we'll have to see. I'm not sure what they mean by that. I'm trying to imagine. We'll see in the gameplay when we start testing this out on my stream. The computer in Tanglewood is now turned on with the keyboard instead of the screen. Good to know. That actually makes more sense, I think. Placement holograms will no longer cast or receive shadows. Very cool. Replaced EU plug sockets with US ones. Oh, look at that. And I actually roll with Fahrenheit on the thermometer, and people give me crap about that all the time. So now we have the plug sockets as well. Let's go. Locker doors now have slots that you can see through. Very Outlast-ish. You can see the ghost creeping outside the locker. That could be fun. Prison doors are now much easier to slide. Cool. Sanity pills price has been reduced to $20 to accommodate for the bug fix below. Uh-oh. Players talking, including using the walkie-talkie, no longer give readings to the parabolic microphone and sound sensor, so it's more clear as to whether or not you're hearing a ghost noise. Especially when you have teammates that yap all the time. And then yap while you're getting hunted and get your entire team squad wiped on Nightmare mode. It happens, trust me. Reduce the polygon count of many objects, mainly the bed and edge field, so that should be a higher frame rate. Alright, now fixes. Fixed a bug where some ghost events didn't play ghost sounds. Okay, that's cool. Although some silent ghost events could be actually really terrifying. If like you just turn around and the ghost is silently just sprinting at you. That would be so insane. Fixed a bug where you could sometimes grab a tent door that was not visible. Okay. Fixed a bug where some lights in farmhouses wouldn't stop your sanity draining. Also okay. Fixed a bug where the Onryo wouldn't interact correctly if you didn't get the summoning circle curse possession. I know that I just had an Onryo the other day that was acting like a shade the entire match. It was totally trolling me. So maybe that's part of the bug. Fixed a bug where the ghost event objective would complete when there was no ghost event. Okay. Fixed a safe spot in the Ridgeview garage. Very nice. Fixed a bug where sprint stamina wasn't regenerating if you had your journal open. Didn't know that was a thing, but it's a good fix. Fixed a bug where the journal brightness setting was higher than the main menu setting. Yeah, that could be annoying, but I still didn't even notice that. Fixed a bug where after a hunt, the ghost audio would fade out and back in briefly. If you've ever heard that, when the hunt ends and you hear the ghost singing or breathing or whatever, and it kind of teleports, what that means is the ghost is teleported back to the original ghost room, I believe. So you can kind of use it as a way to cheese the game a little bit. So taking that out is probably a welcome addition if you want to play the game legitimately. Okay. Fixed a bug where sanity pills were not being removed from your inventory if used or if you died. So that means at $20 a pop, if you have a squad and everyone uses a sanity pill, you're out of $80 for that match. Because you now have to replenish sanity pills that have been consumed. They're consumables every match. It makes sense, but it's actually, that's a bigger gameplay change, I think, than it sounds at first. That's going to be significant. Especially if you're dying a lot. If you're dying a lot and then you finally get a nice $400 Nightmare match, but you use 4 sanity pills, guess what? You got to buy 4 more. And that's actually a $320 Nightmare match. So Interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. Fixed a bug where the missed ghost event wasn't working correctly. Okay. I don't know how it wasn't working correctly, but I'm glad it's working correctly now. Fixed a bug where the ghost would not walk towards you during some ghost events. Okay. All good things. So that wraps it up for the patch notes, but there are some significant things to talk about here, mainly the sanity pills, the hiding spots, the Obake changes. All that stuff is going to be pretty significant, especially if you play on nightmare mode and you're using a lot of sanity pills and trying to find where to hide. You're going to have one legit hiding spot now, and they've moved a lot of the doors on you. There's still a solid place to hide in Tanglewood. It's right, the first door right when you get into the master. Can't go all the way into the bathroom and hide, but I've been pretty safe behind that first door in the master, so you can still pretty much hide there. So there'll be at least 2 on Tanglewood places you can hide, but make sure you stay tuned, because I am going to, in the coming days, make some more beginner's guides, some updated beginner's guides on where to hide on each map and things like that. So yeah, just to go with this update. So those old guides are getting a little outdated now with all these door changes and such. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video. All that. Follow the Twitch. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. I hope this was useful to you. These patch notes are available in Steam. They'll be right there under the Phasmophobia tab. Just go in there, click on them if you're interested in the VR stuff, because I'm not really a VR player, so I'm not really even sure what's going on with the VR or how it works. That's not really my thing. So if that's your thing, go ahead and read them. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.